Love and greetings to you. This topic is a great topic, and I'm going to go through it, but the last part is so important, so stay with me. The topic is 5 signs your spouse is unhappy, and what can you do for them? And I'm going to go backwards through them from getting into the worst last. And then I'm going to give you something that almost nobody else will give you. I will actually tell you what you can do to help them. They're your spouse. You love them. You fell in love with them. You married them. You want to have harmony, love, happiness. And now all you have right now is me, Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation, but this is good for you. So let's begin with number 5, the 5th sign that your spouse is unhappy. They've lost their sense of humor. Usually when someone is happy, they find humor in almost everything. Everything tickles them, everything is fun, everything is exciting. And it's good. Life is good. When you're happy, we create like an aura of happiness that spreads into everything. We see things differently. We hear things differently. Instead of having a cynical approach, think of it that way, it's the opposite. We have a very positive approach. So if your spouse has lost their sense of humor, and I don't mean that, they used to be a stand-up comedian, but when they've lost their sense of humor and they start seeing things more skeptically and dryly, that's a big sign. Number 4, they're gaining weight. It has its physical effect. When we're unhappy, what do? We eat more. Now, that's not the only reason we eat more, but it's certainly there. We don't exercise as much as we should. We're sitting in front of the boob tube or in front of our computer more than we should. And that's a big sign that we're not happy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to group all of these because the response of what you can do for them will cover everything. Number 3, and this is a problem, they're getting sick all the time. And please don't be critical when they're sick. Don't say, oh, you got to take better care of yourself. How come you're not taking vitamin C? How come you're not eating better? How come you're not getting exercise? You don't do that. That's not going to help. It's a sign that they're becoming unhappy, and it's cyclical. It becomes the more unhappy you are, the more things you do that add to your unhappiness, and it's like that. Number 2, nothing seems to please them anymore. Hey, let's go on a vacation. All right. Hey, let's go to the movies. What's playing? It's like all the things that they used to like doing, except for eating, don't just do it anymore. Number 1, this is the big one. They've lost purpose. This often happens, they call it middle-aged something or other, and it happens. We lose our purpose. We forget why we're alive. We just forget. Maybe the kids are getting a little older. Maybe, life is getting boring. The job is boring, And it's really not the job that's boring. It's an inner thing. And this is why this one is so important. Because one of mankind's number 1 purposes, and there's 3 main purposes in life. Our number 1 purpose, believe it or not, is to be happy. It's not selfish to want to be happy. We are supposed to want to be happy because our inner self, our soul, who we are, is ever new joy. This is not a religious class, by the way. Don't misunderstand. But it's the truth that we are intended to be happy. We are. And it's so unusual these days. We walk around and we see people Yeah, I'll have a cup of coffee. Hardly anyone smiles anymore. It seems like people are taking the crushing world too personally. The world is always going to be crushing, but we don't have to take it. We don't have to. And so, what you can do about it. So, that's one of the purposes of life. The other purpose of life is to experience love. We don't look at this because in our world we have walked away from all forms of spirituality. Love is spiritual. Happiness is spiritual. Harmony is spiritual. You see, spiritual is that which is not material. It's either or. So love is not, now they've tried to make it an emotion. And an emotion is of the mind. But that's material. The truth about love is that it's above the mind. Happiness is above the mind. It's an experience of our true selves. And and this is where now we get to what you can do for them. It is interesting, and it's a beautiful thing that you want to help them through this. Rather than be critical of them for what is clearly no fun for them, you want to be uplifting. You're a good spouse by having that attitude. And so all you need to do is live your marriage as it was intended. See, we get married because we fall in love. That identifies our soulmate. But the real reason why we want to be married is, guess what? To be happy, to experience unconditional love, and to live in a harmonious space I call the sacred space of marriage. And I talk about it in my books, and we talk about it in the courses for men and women. Your marriage is not there yet where you need it, but what we want to do is differentiate our married life from everything else. And when you do that, and you cultivate love and devotion within your marriage, you can't help but be happy. Off the charts happy. You can't help but experience that love that you're cultivating because you're using your free will to do so. It's unlimited. And naturally, because you'll be focused in on your spouse, you will feel that harmony that we all crave. And that's what you can do. Isn't it beautiful? You know, the world's way of working on marriages today, the Western psychological way, I should say, is find the problems and fix them. And guess what? That doesn't even work. Our way, because I used to be a divorce mediator, so I didn't get into marriage as a psychologist. I'm not a psychologist. And many of our marriage counselors are not psychologists. You don't have to be a psychologist to be a marriage counselor. You could be clergy, you could be a coach. I don't care what you are. You can be a marriage counselor, TMF marriage counselor, by understanding marriage from the bottom to the top. And we have a course for that. And so it's all about leading people out of the doldrums, out of the mentality of got to fix that, into the, wait, we got married to be happy. We got married to experience love. We got married for harmony. And focus on those. When you're driving your car, you don't have to go, watch out for the ditch, watch out for this, watch out for that. No, you're going, okay, I'm used to this. I know how to drive. It's a pleasurable experience. And marriage is too. And when you start recreating your marriage, your spouse will start feeling this energy. And they will be uplifted. They will no longer even realize, wow, I was unhappy, because the mind turns that off. And you will get all the benefits that your spouse is getting. It's so beautiful. Marriage is awesome. And I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. I hope you're a subscriber. If not, subscribe. And please come again. Like this video. God bless you. and take care.